Hello, this is Storybooks channel. New videos are posted every day. Subscribe and click the bell.
Samuel was about to go home when the phone rang. "Hey, workaholic. Hey, buddy." Samuel answered, hearing the mocking voice of Harry, his old buddy. "The work week is over, so I suggest we go to a nightclub tonight because we haven't seen each other in a while. We could chat, look at some pretty girls. I don't know." "In doubt," answered the man. "I had plans with my wife. You know I don't like going to nightclubs. I'm fine at home with my wife." "Oh, come on. Monica is your woman, a woman with understanding. She knows that a man sometimes needs to relax, especially," he paused, intriguing his friend. "I've got a card for a private, all-male club. We'll agree. Let's remember our youth. Why are you hiding behind your wife like an old grandfather?" "All right," Samuel gave in. "I'll talk to her now. If she doesn't mind, let's go. I'm waiting for your call." Harry got excited. "It's no fun to go alone. I promise it'll be fun." Samuel shut down the computer, cleared the papers off the desk, and locked them in the safe. He liked things to be in order. The plastic surgery clinic that he and his wife had opened 2 years ago was already famous far beyond the borders of their hometown for the clear, well-coordinated work of the management and medical staff. Samuel closed the office and looked in on his wife. "Darling, are you ready?" The blonde, pretty woman looked up at him. There was adoration in her gaze. "Yes, Samuel, just a minute. I'll wait for you in the car." He paused, admiring his wife. They had been together for 10 years, and Monica, in her early 30s, still had her girlish freshness. It seemed to Samuel that over the years she was only getting more beautiful, like a flower bud that slowly blooms in the sun, making him marvel at every petal that opens. If it keeps going like this. Sitting down after a while, next to her husband in the car, Monica said, "You and I will have to spend the night at work." "Why is that?" "I can't even believe that in such a short period of time we've made a steady income." "We dreamed of it." Kissing his wife, Samuel remarked, "And everything worked out. We can afford any whim." "But why do we need so much money?" Monica got sad. "We even recently do not go anywhere, just work and work. We used to dream of traveling the world. Remember, in the last year of school you promised that we would hang a map on the wall in our house, and we would mark the places we had been to. Well, the map is hanging, but we haven't gotten any more flags. We will still have time to travel. We have our whole life ahead of us. We can't give up and stop the process. People depend on us. Remember what we had to go through to earn a reputation among our colleagues. Have you seen how many positive reviews we have on our website? And there will be even more. We don't just do plastic surgery. We save some patients from doing crazy things. Remember, a woman wanted to commit suicide because of the scars on her face after a car accident that killed her entire family. Or recently, a woman came in asking to have her nose reshaped. She couldn't get married. And now she sends you congratulations every holiday. And we have many such stories. We bring joy to people. Don't you think that's worth living and working for? Yeah, live and work to save other people's lives. But who's gonna save mine? I can't give you a child. There's nothing I can do about it. They say good things come back. But somehow that didn't work for me. Don't start." Taking his wife by the hand, the man said conciliatingly, "You are beautiful, successful, but it happens in life that people cannot have children. Are we medics not to know about it? If it hadn't been for that damned operation when we were kids, things might have turned out differently." The woman had tears in her eyes. "Why am I so unhappy?" "Stop thinking about her." Samuel took his wife by the shoulders, gently turned her toward him, and looked into her dark blue eyes. Thinking to himself Our daughter could have exactly the same extraordinary color eyes. Still, nothing can be changed. We have each other. I love you. You love me after all. You can always take a child from an orphanage or pay for the services of a surrogate mother. There are so many options today. We haven't used any of them. Yes, you're right. Monica nodded, agreeing with her husband's arguments, but there was sadness and a sense of loss in her gaze. I'm sorry, I'm just tired from the week. There are so many clients, and it takes a lot of nerves to talk to all of them and calm them down. It's a good thing we have a team of real masters of their craft. We couldn't have done it alone, and that's entirely your merit. Darling, Samuel decided to change the subject. I got a call from Harry inviting me to a private men's club tonight. He got a business card somewhere. The man laughed. I want to keep him company. You and I spend all our time together, at home, at work, and have fun together. Let's take a little break from each other, shall we? I'll go with Harry. You go out with your girlfriends. I'm sure we'll have something to talk about. How would you like that? It's a wonderful suggestion. Wiping away her tears, Monica smiled. It's true, I haven't seen the girls for a long time with this job, and you and I don't know how to relax. Even at home we manage to discuss work issues. You're right, we should take a little break from each other. That's great. Samuel was happy, and starting the engine said, Then now I'll go home, change my clothes, and go to the club. Changing a strict business suit, a shirt and jeans, Samuel felt free and happy. I didn't expect this, he said, buttoning the sleeves of his shirt and putting on a light-colored jacket. That clothes could have such an effect on your mood. Not clothes. The woman laughed, carefully adjusting his collar, the anticipation of seeing a friend. By the way, what is he doing now? I don't know exactly, but last time he said he got a job in some private clinic, still looking for himself and still single. You look very attractive in loose clothes, funny, even younger. Make sure you don't swap me for some pretty girl without a second glance. You have nothing to worry about. Kissing Monica, Samuel assured her. I don't need anyone but you. Any pretty girl would look pale next to you. You're a beauty. He brought the woman to his bosom, saying goodbye. That's it. I'm off. Be a good girl. Don't spare any money. Have a great vacation with your girlfriends. 3 hours later, Samuel drove up to the building Harry had indicated. He met him at the entrance. What took you so long? His friend rebuked him, extending his hand. The handshake was firm. Harry was tall, handsome, and had been a ladies' man in college. He still was. He took women lightly, didn't burden himself with serious relationships. The searing look of his brown eyes attracted his admirers. They flew to him like butterflies to the light and burned their wings in the same way. Harry is a convinced bachelor. The best seats are already taken, of course. He said sadly, Let's see what's left, and hopefully we'll get better girls. What girls? Samuel asked. I'm not going to meet any girls. Believe me, you'll lose a lot if you don't. It's the best men's club in town, and they have such waitresses. He clucked his tongue promisingly. You're gonna rock. From the outside, the room did not give away that it was a nightclub. The broad-shouldered guard at the entrance, in a classic black jacket, with the unruffled face of a bare-knuckle fighter, looked at them suspiciously, about to ask them to pass, but when he saw Harry's business card, he smiled broadly and took a step back from the door, giving permission to enter. The friends made their way down the stone steps of the staircase below. Good evening. A beautiful woman, about 40 years old, a little overweight, dressed in a luxurious black dress with sequins, greeted them languidly. Her breasts were adorned with an expensive diamond necklace, and earrings glittered in her ears. "I am Barbara, the hostess of the establishment." She held out a plump hand in a lace glove to each of the men in turn. They leaned toward her in a welcoming bow, kissing her thick, sausage-like fingers. "Is this your first time with us?" She turned to Samuel, appraising him from head to toe. He nodded in agreement. "Come in, have a seat." She pointed to the private tables, with soft, cozy chairs that were scattered in the semi-darkness of the room. The huge bar was sparkling with lights. The bartender was mixing a cocktail behind the bar, playing with a shaker, deftly pouring the contents into glasses. Waitresses, beautiful young girls, and clothes that hid almost nothing were scurrying between the booths. "Where are we?" Samuel shouted in his buddy's ear. "It's all a little too open here. To be honest, I didn't expect it." "My friend," Harry laughed, "are you embarrassed by beautiful half-naked girls? You and I are not old, and they should arouse passion and desire in you, not fear. I hope you don't have any male problems." "No problems, but I love my wife." The man was indignant. "Why do I need half-naked girls?" "Only you are not forced to marry them, and if you like some chick, you can use their services. I won't tell Monica about your little pranks." Harry winked at his friend. "Admire a woman's beauty. It relieves fatigue, but let's order," he suggested, waving to someone. A waitress approached them. The mound of red hair was decorated with a tiara. Thin black leather straps barely covered her breasts, smoothly passing to the waistband of a short, very short, bright red skirt. Long, shapely legs in black lace stockings and high-heeled shoes completed the portrait. Harry quickly dictated something to her. She wrote it down carefully and walked away, wiggling her hips invitingly. "This isn't the first time you've been here, is it?" Samuel asked suspiciously, looking at his friend. "Who's forbidding me? I'm single. I have not met a woman like your Monica. You are the one who is lucky in life, a beautiful wife, a great surgeon, and now you have your own business. If I had all that, I'd probably stay home too. No one forbade you to study hard at the Institute." The man snapped at me. "You could have achieved a lot. My wife and I worked like hell, and you spent all your free time in bars and restaurants. Is it possible to find a worthy life partner there? They're workaholics." Again laughed Buddy. "I'm jealous in a good way. Don't take offense. Enjoy the evening. Everything is good. Here is our order." He woke up when he saw a pretty girl with a tray in her hands. "How appetizing you are," he sang, devouring with his eyes the chiseled figure of the waitress. Long, black, luxurious hair freely did not fall on her shoulders, and large brown eyes warily watched the man who sat dangerously close to her. She deftly served the order and disappeared. "I like her." Decisively rising from his seat, Harry said, heading toward Barbara. "I want to order her for myself before someone else takes her." "Harry, where are you going?" "Maybe we shouldn't rush. The evening's just beginning." His friend tried to talk him out of it, but the man wouldn't listen. "Barbara," Harry addressed the hostess, "I want that girl for tonight." "No, you don't," the woman objected softly. "She's only been here a week." "I don't want to frighten her. I'm teaching her everything, but she doesn't know the details yet." "Let her get used to it a little." "So what's the problem?" "I'll teach her. I know how to do it. You know me." He winked at Barbara. "I'll pay you well." "Okay," smiling, the woman agreed. "I'll do it your way, but no funny business. I don't want to have to deal with her relatives later." They looked at each other understandingly, and the hostess left the room. "Let's have a drink, shall we?" Smiling, Harry returned to his seat and raised his glass, urging Samuel to do the same. "I don't understand you. You've been Monica for 10 years. Don't you get tired of each other? Look how many beautiful women there are around, and you don't like any of them." "I don't believe it." "How can Monica get bored?" Question to question, Samuel answered. "We have the same interests. We think alike, and our feelings have grown stronger over the years. We're not just lovers anymore, we're partners. We love our work, we give our whole soul to it. That's why we have good reviews about our clinic. I envy you," Harry said thoughtfully. They were able to carry love and friendship through the years. Now it is rare to meet such couples. Share your experience. What is the secret of your strong family life? "There is no secret," Samuel smiled. "Over the years, the extravagant passion has passed, and feelings have turned into a stable and reliable relationship. We tremblingly and tenderly take care of each other, from good. Good is not sought, you know. My wife and I have overcome all difficulties together. We understand each other with half a word. We are never bored together. In case you didn't know, that's what love is. And you still haven't had children." "No, we can't have children." "That's a pity. You would have been beautiful. I've always dreamed of being related to you through children. Unfortunately, it's impossible. Why don't you want to seek professional help?" "Monica is not ready," Samuel said sadly, "and the work takes up too much time." "Well, don't you dare say the word work tonight. We are relaxing, enjoying life and looking at naked girls. Friends have a drink, relax a little. Pleasant music, dimmed lights." Samuel liked the atmosphere. He already felt the inner tension, which had not left him lately, gradually receded. Suddenly, the audience in the hall became lively. The friends, as if on command, turned their heads towards the stage. There, among the bright flashes of light, appeared girls dancers, performing a belly dance. Slender, plastic, they easily moved to the sounds of the oriental melody. The girls masterfully possessed their bodies, delighting the audience. They were moving swiftly on the stage, then paused, giving the audience to enjoy themselves. Then suddenly every cell of the body began to vibrate, from the tips of the fingers on the hands to the delicate pink handkerchief, making the surrounding men whistled in admiration, shouting various obscenities, watching what was happening on stage. "What do you think?" asked Harry. "It's great. It's marvelous. I've never seen anything like it." "And you hesitated whether to go or not. You don't see so many beautiful women anywhere. We've got women just as beautiful under the scalpel. Don't compare. It's natural beauty, and yours is artificial. You can't understand the sense of satisfaction I feel when a woman is satisfied with the operation. And what happens, and someone is not satisfied? Unfortunately, in any job, there are failures. There was a case when a woman with tears asked to return the volume of her breasts. Another did not like the shape of her nose. People are different, so no one is immune to scandal, but still, there are more positive comments. "Oh my God," Harry laughed. "We're back on the subject of work. I suggest we play a game of billiards. How do you feel about it? I haven't held a cue in my hands for a long time." Samuel was cautious. "I'm afraid I'll be an uninteresting partner for you. Nothing you'll remember. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you learn once, you'll never forget. Come on, billiards is a game for real men. I remember you were pretty good at the top screw. I'll give you a head start." At first, they lazily pushed the cue, driving balls into the hole one by one. Then Samuel got into the taste. In his eyes, there was a gambling light. "Let's play for a bottle of cognac," he suggested. "I'll make you like a juvenile," Harry said condescendingly. "We'll see," Samuel answered evasively. If you remember, I was the best at rolling balls in my class. I don't mind." My friend laughed. "But that was 10 years ago, and I'm practicing regularly. However, you suggested it yourself. Prepare money if you have extra. But be kind enough to buy the most expensive cognac, not some cheap stuff. Don't be fooled." Getting into a rage stopped the man. "There's no telling who's going to lose. I don't like to be second, you know that." They played a game, exchanging meaningless phrases. "What, did you brag?" Samuel looked victoriously at his friend, putting the cue on the table. "And I warned you." "It's a shame to admit it." Scratching the back of his head, Harry lamented. "But you won all right. Don't worry. I'll buy you a cognac. Although, as I know, it's better for doctors to refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages, especially plastic surgeons. Don't go off topic." The man stopped him. "Or did you spare some money for an old friend?" They left the game and went into a cozy booth, hidden by thick drapes from prying eyes. "I wanted to say thank you very much for tonight. My friends were sitting on comfortable soft sofas. The hops were dizzying my head. The club's atmosphere allowed me to relax and not think about anything. I only now realized how tired I was. I hadn't taken a vacation in a long time. Monica and I are always at work. No, I'm not complaining. I just realized how damn tired I am. It's good to be in a man's company. It's so relaxing." "Don't thank me." Harry waved him away. "I'm glad we're having a good time too. Believe me, sometimes it's good to take a break from each other. You don't know how to relax at all. Why are you always looking at your phone?" he asked reproachfully, noticing how tensely Samuel looked at the screen from time to time. "I think I have to go now." Guiltily, the man said. "Monica will be angry. It's getting late. I'm surprised she hasn't called me by now." "I hope you put the phone on mute." Harry looked at him suspiciously. Sudden calls are not welcome here. Nothing should distract visitors. It's a condition of the club. Of course, I understand. It's just that Monica would be worried, and I don't want to worry her." "You're a pansy, buddy," Harry exclaimed. "You've got it all wrong." Samuel objected. "I'm not used to vacationing without her. We're always together. In fact, I'd like to get to bed. The week's stress is taking its toll, and I'm not used to partying at night. Don't be in a hurry to leave." My buddy smiled enigmatically. "It's still early days." Samuel looked at his friend puzzled, but gave in and remained seated. Harry pressed the call button, and a waitress entered the room, the same one who had approached them in the hall. In her hands, the girl held a tray with glasses and a light appetizer. "Here's the surprise." The man stood up, took the tray, placed it on the table. "We've been waiting for you, oh beautiful child." He grinned, looking at the frightened girl appraisingly. "Sit with us." The man forced her to sit down beside him. "What's your name?" "Cindy." The girl tried her best to move away from the intrusive customer. "Sorry, we're not supposed to talk to customers. Nice to meet you." "I'm Harry." And this, ignoring the objection, the man pointed to a friend. "Samuel." He watched the scene blankly. He had already guessed that all the waitresses here provided intimate services to the customers. He was not very pleased to see his friend trying to flirt with a girl. The man frantically thought about how to politely leave without offending Harry. He didn't need all these games. He didn't even think about the possibility of cheating on his wife. Why was Harry putting on such a show here? Samuel thought with disgust. He knows I love Monica and have no interest in other women. "You're so sweet." Harry continued to court Cindy. "That's an unusual name you have. Did you make it up on purpose so the clients would remember you better?" He took the girl's hand and kissed the delicate fingers. "Do you want to make a lot of money?" He stared at her questioningly. "How much do you get in a month?" The girl was silent, looking warily at the drunken visitor. "And I offer you the same money, only for an evening in our company." The man, with his free hand, ran it along Cindy's naked thigh. Samuel watched from the side, did not interfere, thinking that this is the custom here, foreplay before intimacy. "What do you think you're doing?" The girl recoiled fearfully from Harry. "Let go at once," she said in horror, trying to wrestle her hand from the man's firm grasp. "I'm going to scream. Why are you breaking?" Harry smiled drunkenly as he continued to hold the waitress. "Don't ruin my buddy and I's evening. Look at him, he's obsessed with his job. One night he let himself relax. Give him a hand. Do what you do best. Samuel, seize the opportunity. I give you the right to be her first. And you, beautiful." Once again he turned to the girl. "Don't be afraid. My buddy won't offend the poor girl. He will be very polite. There's no telling who's going to lose. I don't like to be second, you know that." They played a game, exchanging meaningless phrases. "What did you brag?" Samuel looked victoriously at his friend, putting the cue on the table. "And I warned you." "It's a shame to admit it." Scratching the back of his head, Harry lamented. "But you won all right. Don't worry. I'll buy you a cognac. Although, as I know, it's better for doctors to refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages, especially plastic surgeons." "Don't go off topic." The man stopped him. "Or did you spare some money for an old friend?" They left the game and went into a cozy booth, hidden by thick drapes from prying eyes. "I wanted to say thank you very much for tonight. My friends were sitting on comfortable soft sofas. The hops were dizzying my head. The club's atmosphere allowed me to relax and not think about anything. I only now realized how tired I was. I hadn't taken a vacation in a long time. Monica and I are always at work. No, I'm not complaining. I just realized how damn tired I am. It's good to be in a man's company. It's so relaxing." "Don't thank me." Harry waved him away. "I'm glad we're having a good time, too. Believe me, sometimes it's good to take a break from each other. You don't know how to relax at all. Why are you always looking at your phone?" he asked reproachfully, noticing how tensely Samuel looked at the screen from time to time. "I think I have to go now." Guiltily, the man said. "Monica will be angry. It's getting late. I'm surprised she hasn't called me by now. I hope you put the phone on mute." Harry looked at him suspiciously. "Sudden calls are not welcome here. Nothing should distract visitors. It's a condition of the club." Of course, I understand. It's just that Monica would be worried, and I don't want to worry her." "You're a pansy, buddy," Harry exclaimed. "You've got it all wrong," Samuel objected. "I'm not used to vacationing without her. We're always together. In fact, I'd like to get to bed. The week's stress is taking its toll, and I'm not used to partying at night. Don't be in a hurry to leave." My buddy smiled enigmatically. "It's still early days." Samuel looked at his friend puzzled, but gave in and remained seated. Harry pressed the call button, and a waitress entered the room, the same one who had approached them in the hall. In her hands, the girl held a tray with glasses and a light appetizer. "Here's the surprise." The man stood up, took the tray, placed it on the table. "We've been waiting for you, oh beautiful child." He grinned, looking at the frightened girl appraisingly. "Sit with us." The man forced her to sit down beside him. "What's your name?" "Cindy." The girl tried her best to move away from the intrusive customer. "Sorry, we're not supposed to talk to customers. Nice to meet you. I'm Harry." And this, ignoring the objection, the man pointed to a friend. "Samuel." He watched the scene blankly. He had already guessed that all the waitresses here provided intimate services to the customers. He was not very pleased to see his friend trying to flirt with a girl. The man frantically thought about how to politely leave without offending Harry. He didn't need all these games. He didn't even think about the possibility of cheating on his wife. Why was Harry putting on such a show here? Samuel thought with disgust. He knows I love Monica and have no interest in other women. You're so sweet. Harry continued to court Cindy. That's an unusual name you have. Did you make it up on purpose so the clients would remember you better? He took the girl's hand and kissed the delicate fingers. Do you want to make a lot of money? He stared at her questioningly. How much do you get in a month? The girl was silent, looking warily at the drunken visitor. And I offer you the same money, only for an evening in our company. The man, with his free hand, ran it along Cindy's naked thigh. Samuel watched from the side, did not interfere, thinking that this is the custom here, foreplay before intimacy. What do you think you're doing? The girl recoiled fearfully from Harry. Let go at once, she said in horror, trying to wrestle her hand from the man's firm grasp. I'm going to scream. Why are you breaking? Harry smiled drunkenly as he continued to hold the waitress. Don't ruin my buddy and I's evening. Look at him. He's obsessed with his job. One night, he let himself relax. Give him a hand. Do what you do best. Samuel, seize the opportunity. I give you the right to be her first. And you, beautiful. Once again, he turned to the girl. Don't be afraid. My buddy won't offend the poor girl. He will be very polite. Don't be stubborn. You'll like it. Harry, I don't think she really knows what you want her to do. Leave her alone. Don't overplay it, pretty girl. Drunkenly smirked his friend, trying to hug, kiss the girl, not paying attention to Samuel's words, like she didn't know where she was going. I'm just a waitress. I brought your order. Let me go. Cindy was seriously startled to find herself in the company of two disembodied men. You brought the order? Harry laughed. I don't pay that kind of money for a glass of cognac. I can have a drink at home. Samuel saw that his friend was angry. Let's go to the room. He stood up and pulled the girl behind him. She stubbornly tried to reason with the client. Let me go, please. I'm not that kind of girl. I'm just a waitress. The intimate services are provided by other girls. Would you like me to call Barbara? She'll choose the most experienced one for you. Anyone would be honored to spend the night with you. I don't want other girls. I want you. You're obliged to fulfill your client's wishes. No, I didn't consent to these services. Who do you think you are? Who here is interested in your consent? Are you so naive that you left without realizing how girls make money here? You're playing hard to get, but admit it, you're ready to lie under anyone, just to pay money. You're just trying to sell yourself, aren't you? It's not true. You're all lying. The girl shouted, tears flowing from her eyes. Samuel finally began to realize that the girl was not joking. She was tricked into this club where rich men are debauched. I'm tired of you. Meanwhile, Harry was finally getting angry. I don't care whether or not you know what's going on. Don't play hard to get. Barbara promised me you, and I'm not giving up until I get what's mine. Please, Cindy begged, not wanting to go with Harry. Let me go, asked Barbara. You need another girl. She fought back as best she could, trying to break free from the clinging hands of the lust-fueled man. Don't touch me. The landlady came to the noise. What's going on here? She asked angrily, adjusting her hands in lace gloves, luxurious bust. Here. Harry pointed to Cindy. She refuses to honor the terms of the contract. I wanted to make nice with her. Don't you dare ruin the reputation of this place. You'll do as you're told. Barbara went after her. She knew exactly where she was going to work. You don't have to be so innocent. Did you sign the contract? One of the terms and conditions is to provide the services requested by the club's client. That's not true. The girl shouted desperately. I did not sign such a contract. You have no right to force me to sleep with customers. Don't talk nonsense, angrily hissed the landlady. Go to the 3rd floor. I'll show you the contract form with your signature. You'll work with this client. She nodded at Harry. For free. You'll be smarter next time and try not to upset me, or I'll call the guard and you'll sing differently. He's not going to be nice to you. He'll explain your rights and responsibilities. He knows how to do it well. You'll be like silk, and they'll throw you out on the street like a kitten. You won't find a decent job anywhere else. Believe me, I have connections. Stop it. Samuel stood up for the girl. What are you doing to her? Harry, he looked at his friend reproachfully. I didn't expect you to be so mean. You've always been gentle with women, haven't you? What's the matter with you? Why are you forcing the poor girl? Take another girl if you must. There must be someone more experienced. Why are you picking on her? Don't bring me up now. The man snapped at her. She's expendable. There are dozens of them here. Step aside. I'll deal with her myself. I paid money for her and I want what's mine. You see, the girl doesn't want to go anywhere with you. Samuel took off his jacket and put it on the shoulders of the sobbing Cindy. Don't worry, I won't let you get hurt. Come with me. What are you doing? Where are you going with her? I get it. You've decided to take advantage of the little bugger yourself, haven't you? Harry laughed raucously. Go ahead, my friend. I don't mind. I was going to split it between the two of us, but I can live with that. Take advantage. I'm being kind today. But what about your Monica? He laughed. You've decided to change your principles for some pretty girl. You're even willing to fight with a friend. How can you say that? I don't recognize you. Tiredly, Samuel remarked. Where has the good, decent Harry disappeared to, my friend? Leave the girl alone. Barbara tried to intervene. This is my employee. You can leave, but leave her alone. I'll call the guards. Samuel took Cindy by the hand and moved towards the exit. Get out of the way. Decisively, he commanded Harry and Barbara. No one dared to oppose him. The guard, thinking that the girl had voluntarily gone with the client, silently opened the door in front of them. The man put the girl in the car. Where are you going home? Asked Samuel Cindy. He carefully adjusted the jacket on her shoulders, took away a strand of hair to see her face, and then the girl, apparently, finally realizing that nothing else threatens her, ducked into the shoulder of her savior and sobbed in her voice. The man embraced her awkwardly, pulling her against him soothingly. Well, it's all behind you now. How did you so carelessly sign the contract and not even read it carefully? Why did you join this place in the first place? Tell me, it'll make you feel better, believe me. Me, she was sobbing. I need money, and Jenna, my classmate, said it pays well. So, do you need a lot of money? Cindy nodded silently. Why would a young girl need a lot of money? It's a long story. I'm afraid you don't have time to listen to me. She was silent for a moment, as if considering whether or not to tell it. I don't think you... I was terrified when I heard that. Like a mad woman, I ran out of the house, caught a cab, and went to the hospital. There the doctor on duty took me to the resident's room and called the investigator, who asked some stupid questions, but I remember almost nothing. So they are alive? Samuel asked me. Are your parents alive? My mom died on the spot. My dad was in a coma for a long time, almost a month. I had to bury my mom myself. The girl said quietly, I don't know how I survived the identification procedure, the funeral, and the wake. I have no one to help me. I think at that moment I grew up 10 years. Poor you, how you suffered. The man squeezed her hand. I remember that my neighbor in the stairwell all persuaded me to cry, but I did not shed a tear at the cemetery. Mom was lying in the coffin so beautiful, as if alive. I didn't want to believe that she was gone. The scariest part was coming back to an empty apartment. The feeling of bitter loss overtook me, and I finally gave vent to tears. For several days, I didn't leave the house. I didn't want to see or hear anyone. My neighbor sometimes called me, brought me food, and tried to distract me from sad thoughts, but I did not react to anything. I threw the food away at once and kept lying there, lying against the wall. I loved my mother very much. The girl was quiet. I didn't even want to live without her. But then I pulled myself together for the sake of my father. I didn't know if he would come out of his coma, but I couldn't leave him alone. If he woke up, he would need my help. When I came to the hospital a few days later, the doctor encouraged me, saying that my father had a good chance of recovery. I went to the hospital every day after classes, sat at his bedside all evenings, read books for him, and prepared to enter the institute. Talking to him. It was very hard. I realized with my mind that perhaps it would be better for him to leave after his mother than to spend his whole life in a wheelchair. But then I prayed to God to keep him alive. The fear of losing both my parents followed me around. And where is your father now? At home with me. He took the loss of my mom very hard. I told you they were very attached to each other. The news of her death took a toll on him. The damage to his spine left no chance of a full recovery. He went to rehab, of course, but it didn't help him get back on his feet. In addition, we began to have financial difficulties. All the money saved by my mother went for her funeral and for my father's treatment. All procedures, medicines, accommodation in the rehabilitation center turned out to be paid, and we still have to live on something to pay utility bills. And what about the institute? I had to forget about the institute. I needed a job because we had no income except for my father's miserable disability pension. I got a job as a courier. The salary was small, but I was satisfied with the free schedule because I could not leave my father alone for long. He could not even go to the toilet without me. Although I was running around the city with deliveries like an eagle for days and nights on end, I was still desperately short of money. My father's pension was almost all spent on his treatment. How did you survive it all? So small, fragile. You can't imagine how hard it was for me. I'd come home and drop dead on the bed. And at such a moment, when I was ready to surrender to the mercy of despair, my friend and classmate Jenna appears on the doorstep of the apartment. We've been friends since childhood. I remember that tiredness knocked me off my feet that night, and I fell asleep right in my clothes on the living room couch. The doorbell woke me up. I was startled because I wasn't expecting any visitors, especially so late. Jenna looked stunning, expensively, and stylishly dressed, with hair, makeup, as if she had just come from a high-end beauty salon. She knew about the trouble that had befallen our family, was aware that I was in dire need of money. She told me that she works as a waitress in a closed but very popular nightclub, where the rest is for rich and respectable men who are not stingy on generous tips. In the restaurant, the prices are prohibitive, the cuisine is first class, and the employees are allowed to take out the food left by the guests. No stranger can get in from the street. The club entrance is strictly by business card. The friend was not deceived. The salary was even higher than my expectations. The only thing I was not satisfied with was the uniform, but I threw away all shame. For that kind of money, I was willing to walk around naked. Are you judging me? Cindy looked at Samuel questioningly. No, The man genuinely felt sorry for the girl who'd been through such an ordeal. "I think I'd do anything for a loved one. I realize you had no other choice. Thank you." She turned away again, her eyes filled with pain and confusion. After only a week's work, I was able to provide my father with a month's worth of medication. I was happy. She was silent, trying to cope with her worries. But I forgot that free cheese only comes in a mousetrap. I did not guess that the owners for such a high salary will require me to provide guests intimate services. To be honest, I really did not read carefully the text of the contract, which was slipped to me when I got a job at the club. The amount of money Barbara offered me for waitressing made me unable to think straight. She threw her head back and looked at her savior in despair. "Do you believe me? I'm not a prostitute. Even for my father's sake, I can't go to bed with a strange man." She started to cry, smearing tears on her face, her thin shoulders shuddering. Samuel was confused. He didn't know what to do. He took a handkerchief out of his pocket and handed it to the girl. She grabbed it. "Thank you." The sobs got quieter and quieter. "I don't know what to do now. How to go on living? I'm so tired from this damn life, from lack of money. I want to kill myself, not to suffer, but I feel sorry for my father. He'll be lost without me." And so much in her voice was deadly fatigue that everything turned over in Samuel's soul from pity for her. He put his arms around her and kissed her. Cindy did not resist, but clung to the man trustingly, hugged his neck awkwardly, and answered the kiss. "My darling, my little one," repeated the man, kissing salty from bitter tears, cheeks, eyes, lips of the girl. "How have you suffered? I will not abandon you. I will help you. You'll see, everything will work out. I have money, enough for you and for your father's treatment. I won't let anyone hurt you." Samuel reluctantly pulled away from Cindy, wiped the tears from her eyes. "I'll take you home now. Give me the address. You'll rest, regain your strength, and then we'll think together about how to help you." He stopped the car in the driveway. "Well, it's time for you to go. It's getting late." Samuel was struggling with an inner struggle with himself. He realized with his head that he had to let her go, and his heart was already burning with desire. But the man held on, so that later he would not suffer from remorse that he had taken advantage of her trustfulness and sense of gratitude for her rescue. So they sat in silence, each thought of his own. Cindy did not dare to get out of the car. She certainly did not believe that this handsome and rich man would help her. Why should he hang my problems on himself? The girl thought, what can I give him in return? A beggar, and even with a sick father on top of it. But I'm not offended. He rescued me from that brothel. Although now I have to look for a job again. Goodbye, she said quietly and got out of the car reluctantly. Samuel called out to her, "Give me your phone number and I'll call you." He wrote everything down, sent a kiss goodbye, and drove away, leaving behind a cloud of dust. The girl stood a little longer and then went home. Her thoughts were confused by what had happened. Her life had changed abruptly in an instant. She couldn't forget the face of the man who treated her not with disdain, but with understanding. She was so tired of fighting the vicissitudes of fate alone that she wanted to lean on someone's strong shoulder. The image of the man kept her awake, and Cindy rolled around in bed until almost morning, remembering how he had kissed her. She finally fell asleep, clutching Samuel's jacket to her chest. Finally, squinting sleepily, Monica met Samuel in the hallway. "I thought you weren't coming back today." She reached up to kiss him. "You smell of expensive cognac, tobacco, and feminine perfume. Did you have a good night? What else am I supposed to smell like when I come back from a men's club? The man tried to make a joke, dodging his wife. Naturally, there were women there. And dancing a private dance? Laughing, she began to stretch the buttons on her shirt. It didn't come to that. Thank goodness. Pulling away from his wife, Samuel spoke. No need. I'm going straight to the bathroom. Where's your jacket? Monica looked at her husband suspiciously. I hope you didn't leave it at the club? Oh, shit, the man realized. I didn't take it from Cindy. I left it at Harry's. For the first time in his life, he lied to his wife. We're still a little gray at his place, but I'll pick it up tomorrow. What are you doing up? I was waiting for you. I can't sleep without you. He went to the bathroom, washed his face, and stood looking at his reflection in the mirror for a long time. You're screwed, man, he said to himself. You don't want to fall in love with a girl who is almost twice your age. The obliging memory returned to the image of a black-haired sweet girl, as Njava saw her crying face and full of suffering brown eyes. Darling, Monica called out to him. Why are you stuck in the bathroom? It's past your bedtime. I'm coming. Samuel replied, shaking off the annoying thoughts. How did you rest? The woman asked, snuggling up to her husband. Didn't regret that you agreed to go? Good, but it was noisy. I can still hear the music in my ears. He hugged Monica, but he didn't feel the same longing for his wife that always ended in passion. What's wrong with me? He pondered. I love her. I still love her. But why do I suddenly feel nothing for her? Why am I suddenly annoyed by this woman lying next to me? Don't be silly, boy. Samuel tried to talk some sense into himself. You have 10 years of marriage and Cindy, a passing attraction. Monica began to caress her husband, reached for his lips, but Samuel carefully rejected her attempts to awaken desire in him. Let's not do this tonight. I'm tired. He pretended to yawn, pretending to be sleepy. You must be getting old. The woman laughed. You're tired of the night's entertainment. I hope you haven't had a young mistress to tire you out. Be warned, I am fearsome in anger. Samuel blushed. Good thing it's dark, he thought. It seemed to him that Monica was reading his thoughts. No, of course not. It's just too many experiences for one day. The woman placed her hand on his and fell silent. Soon the man heard her even breathing. Afraid to disturb, released from her embrace, got up and moved to the sofa in the living room, lay awake for a long time. The image of the girl did not give rest. Darling, why are you sleeping here? Woke up early in the morning Samuel, surprised voice of his wife. I couldn't sleep. I was afraid to wake you up. He answered with difficulty, coming to himself. Apparently, the rest in the nightclub was not good, but me and the girls yesterday had a good rest. Sat with a glass of wine, talked. They say hi to you. Monica leaned over and kissed her husband tenderly. Again he realized that he didn't feel the same feelings as he did when his wife was close to him. Monica was busy in the kitchen. They had a quick breakfast, got ready, and went to work. Monday dragged on unbearably long. Samuel kept looking at his watch as if he could make the hands move faster. Finally, as was his habit, he cleaned up his desk and went to his wife's office. Monica, he said, trying to make his voice sound convincing. I have to go to the warehouse. The equipment has arrived. You know, you need to check all the documents carefully. Can you get home by yourself? Monica, without lifting her head from the table, answered, Okay, honey. I just wanted to do a little more work here today. There's always something to do at the end of the day on Monday. Just don't stay too long. Samuel walked to his car, feeling remorseful, but he couldn't help it. He was magnetically drawn to the girl he had met at the nightclub. Stopping at her entrance, he called, holding his breath, listening to the ringing tone. What if she didn't answer? If she was only pretending, or she? He thought, but it is impossible to play grief in such a way. Then he contradicted himself. Hello. Finally, he heard the receiver. Go ahead, I can't hear you. Cindy. In a hoarse, excited voice, Samuel said, I'm waiting for you downstairs. She appeared almost immediately, as if she had been sitting waiting for the call. She looked around. I'm here. He waved to her without getting out of the car. The girl smiled and ran to him. Hello, she said, sitting down on the seat next to him and staring intensely into the man's eyes, as if trying to read what he was thinking. I didn't think you'd call anymore. We went back to being on a first-name basis yesterday. Noticed Samuel, reached up and kissed her lips. They were soft, supple. The man was suddenly dizzy with desire. I've rented a room for us at the hotel. Do you mind? Cindy nodded in agreement. Shall we go then? They were silent the whole way. The hotel receptionist looked at both of them understandingly, but said nothing, only put the room keys on the counter. 4th floor, to the right. On the table there are phone numbers if you want to order something for yourself or have any questions. Have a nice vacation. Samuel let the girl go ahead and went behind him, feeling the mocking glance of the receptionist. So be it. He waved his hand. That's how a lot of people live. Why can't I spend time with a girl I like? Yes, I'm ashamed of Monica, but I can't help it. When he entered the room, the first thing he did was shut the windows. Cindy stood there, shuffling from foot to foot in embarrassment. Samuel walked over to her, took her by the shoulders, looked into her eyes. I won't be able to see you often. Work takes up all my time. Would you agree to see me a couple times a week here? I realize that my offer sounds strange. You were probably hoping for something else, but I can't offer more than that. I agree, the girl said quietly. She would do anything to have him around, even if it was just once in a while. Samuel hugged her gratefully and kissed her, lightly at first, then more and more firmly. He felt the girl trembling in his arms, and he himself, inebriated with passion, could no longer restrain his desire. Hastily throwing off his clothes, helped her. My girl, he whispered, panting with tenderness. How good it feels to be with you. Their sighs merged into one voluptuous moan, their heated bodies pressed against each other again and again. He lay next to Cindy, and she fell asleep, exhausted from the emotion of the experience. My God, what a wretch I am. Tormented by remorse, Samuel. But I can't help it. This girl has got me. Cindy. He woke her quietly with a kiss. We should get going. The girl stretched sweetly. I don't want to leave you for a moment. She pressed herself against him trustingly, squinting in pleasure. Unfortunately, I can't stay with you. Samuel got up decisively, went to the bathroom and cleaned himself up. When will I see you again? Cindy asked sadly. I'll let you know, be on the phone. The man hurried his mistress. Monica could call at any moment, puzzled by his long absence. He drove the girl home, kissed her, and went to his wife. Sorry, I was late. Guilty, Samuel said, taking off his shoes and walking into the living room, where Monica was sitting, staring at her laptop. That's okay. I just had time to finish my work. Now, she got up from the couch, walked over to her husband, kissed him. I'm all yours. Let's go to the bedroom. I miss you. Darling, I'm tired today. I've been running around. I have so much to do on Monday, you know. I want to go straight to bed if you're not convinced. All right, have it your way, the woman said cheerfully, returning to the computer on the couch. I'll just sit here for a while. Good night." Samuel stood in front of his wife and then went to the bedroom. "How can I deceive her?" thought he, pretending to be asleep. "We've been together for so many years, know each other perfectly well. What am I doing? If Monica finds out, it will be a disaster. I will never forgive myself for cheating on her." Samuel couldn't bring himself to stop seeing Cindy. Twice a week, he diligently found excuses for his wife to visit the girl. Monica suspected nothing. For 10 years of their life together, neither of them had harbored even a spark of doubt about the honesty of the relationship, and from this Samuel was tormented even more. "I know that Cindy and I have no future, but I have no idea how to tell her, and I don't want to lose her. Oh my God!" grabbing my head, suffering from my inability to solve the problem. "I love my wife after all, and I will never leave her. I'm well aware of that. I realize that I must break up with Cindy. But how? I can't go on without her. What can I do?" Every time Samuel returned from his mistress to his wife, he chastised himself for his weakness. He was so caught up in a web of lies that it was hard to breathe. He could not get out of this vicious circle. "Darling, what's going on with you?" Monica asked him one day. "You don't seem like yourself lately. You don't sleep well, you eat badly, you linger somewhere. You come home nervous, upset. Are you sick? What can I do for you?" she asked me sympathetically. "Don't worry, I'm just a little behind on my work, and now I'm trying to catch up. But I'm fine, don't mind me, everything will be back to normal soon. You can't work too hard, you have to rest once in a while. I need you healthy and with strong nerves. What kind of a leader are you if you're tired and fall off your feet? That's it, we can't go on like this." The man decided, listening to how sincerely worried about his health Monica. "Something has to be done about it. Today I have to tell Cindy the truth. Stop deceiving both of them. She is still young, she will meet another man, she will love him, and they will surely be happy. I can't give her anything." In the evening, determined to have a serious conversation, he arrived at the hotel, where an unsuspecting girl was waiting for him in his room. "Samuel!" She threw herself on his neck as soon as he opened the door. "I have news for you." "Wait." Unclasping her hands, the man spoke. "We need to have a serious talk. You're not listening to me." Cindy laughed, ignoring her lover's mood. "You and I are going to have a baby. Can you imagine? Baby? I'm so happy, my love." She kissed him firmly. "Sit down, please," asked Samuel, glowing with joy the girl. "I have something to tell you." The smile slid off Cindy's face. The man paused, gathering his thoughts. "I like you very much, and I'm happy I met you, but we can't be together." "Why not?" Cindy whispered with one lip. "I'm married." He looked her straight in the eye. "I know I look like a scoundrel. I should have come clean a long time ago, but I couldn't." The man jumped to his feet and paced the room, ruffling his hair nervously. "You have become like a breath of fresh air for me. My wife and I have been together for 10 years. I love her. We have a joint business. I can't just throw it all away. I can't and won't do it. Understand me?" He stopped in front of Cindy, lifted her by the shoulders from the bed, looked into her eyes, which had become completely dark from his sudden confession. He shook her. "Why don't you say something? Say that I'm a scumbag, that I took advantage of you, and you'll be right. What about me?" Tears came out of the girl's eyes. "I will help you financially, will not leave you until you find a new job. Do not worry about it. And the baby? Our baby, what about him?" "I'm sorry, but you'll have to have an abortion." "Abortion?" Cindy said fearfully. Are you suggesting we kill our child? You're a big girl. You must realize that we don't want this baby. We're not going to build a family. I can't let you raise it alone. It's better if you have an abortion. It's the smartest thing to do. Please don't object. Just do as I ask. Can you hear yourself? Cindy couldn't believe that the same man who had rescued her from the nightclub— "No, I'm fine," Samuel replied, taking a break from his thoughts. "I wanted to watch some good program, but I didn't find anything interesting. Shall we go for a walk? Take your mind off the sad thoughts that have been bothering you lately." "Why do you say that?" "I'm fine. Something's been going on with you since the night you went to the nightclub." "You're wrong. I've just been working a lot." "Well, if you don't want to talk, don't. Nothing to talk about, I assure you. I'm doing fine." "You have no idea how right you are in your guesses." Samuel thought, watching his wife as she tidied up before going to bed. "I was hoping that I would break up with Cindy and it would be easier. It didn't happen. I'm a rascal. I used the girl and left her. After all, I didn't deceive her. I didn't give her any hopes." He justified himself to his conscience. "I won't abandon her. I'll help her as I promised. It will not be difficult for me. And she is good too." Suddenly he remembered Cindy's confession. "She decided to blackmail me with a child without even consulting me. That's it. We must forget the whole thing." He resolutely got up from the sofa and followed Monica into the bedroom. Samuel plunged headlong into his work, trying to forget about Cindy. He truly believed that she had listened to him and had an abortion. Every day, the image of the sweet, black-haired girl came to mind less and less frequently. The reproachful look in her brown eyes no longer dreamed of him at night. He was able to convince himself that nothing terrible had happened. This is life, and it is sometimes unfair. But the boomerang of fate came to him from where he didn't expect, turning his whole world upside down. "Honey, are you coming home soon?" Monica came into the office. "I'll be a little late. Go without me." Samuel smiled at his wife. "I'll cook something delicious for dinner for us." She came over, kissed her husband, and went home. Time flew by quickly. Glancing at his watch, Samuel realized that he had gotten too deep into his work. He was just about to leave when the bell rang. "Samuel?" The man thought his wife's voice sounded tense. "Come home right away." "What's wrong, darling?" Before he could even finish, the phone rang with a short beep. "Strange, what's wrong?" Samuel wondered, hurriedly closing the office. Monica met him on the doorstep, her arms folded across her chest, showing that something terrible had happened and that he, Samuel, "I really liked her, but I only loved you. When I realized I didn't want to change anything in my life, I broke up with her right away, but she was already pregnant." "So you left her pregnant with your baby?" "Yeah, I'm a jerk, I admit it, but I didn't promise her anything. I told her I wasn't gonna leave you. I gave her money for an abortion. I hadn't seen her since the breakup. I was sure she'd listen to reason." Monica looked at him and could not believe that this was her husband, her Samuel, whom she idolized, to whom she gave all of herself, trusted as herself. It turned out that he had been deceiving her for almost a year. It was so hard on the woman's soul that she wanted to howl. "I'm glad that in the end I had the courage to confess everything to you." The man bowed his head penitently. "I understand if you don't forgive me. I'm sorry to you and to Cindy." "Yes, what are you talking about now, Samuel?" "What forgiveness? What guilt? Don't you realize what happened?" Monica almost choked on the disgust. She felt for the man she thought was the best of men. "The girl died in childbirth. Died. Do you hear me? She's gone. She was giving birth to your son. Do you understand? Your son." She was silent, unable to utter another word. It was hard for her to breathe with resentment. Finally, having coped with her emotions, she said resolutely, "I need to be alone now. Please leave and don't call me until I'm ready to talk." Samuel walked out of the house and wandered down the street, his feet bringing him to Harry's house. "Samuel?" What a surprise! The man welcomed his friend, shook his hand firmly, and escorted him into the living room. "How are you? I haven't seen you since that memorable night when you snatched that horny waitress out from under my nose. Did you make a deal with her? Or did you just walk her home? I had a real grudge against you that night." "Harry," the man looked longingly at his friend. "I'm an idiot. My wife kicked me out of the house, and I had a child out of wedlock." "Wow!" the man exclaimed in amazement. "How many things have happened in your life?" He went to the kitchen and returned a few minutes later with a light appetizer and a bottle of wine. "I think you should have a drink first." He poured the wine into glasses. "Now tell me everything in detail. I'm confused about women. I don't understand. How did I decide to cheat on Monica? All this time, deceiving her. All secret things come to light." The man Samuel sympathized. "Yeah, and at the worst possible time. Where's the mom who gave birth to you?" "That's the thing, she died in childbirth." "Wow," whistled Harry. "And the baby?" "It's in a hospital, but I don't know which one." "What do I do? How do I get Monica back? You don't have children, do you?" "Monica can't give birth on her own because she had an operation when she was a child. There's nothing to think about. You have to find that child and take it back to you. The ghost gave it to you." "Do you think so?" Samuel looked at his friend hopefully. "Of course, every woman dreams of a child, and here is a ready-made one. And not someone else's from the orphanage, but yours. It's from another woman. Will she want to accept it? She would," Harry assured him. "Every woman's maternal instinct is subconscious. You'll see she'll love him like he's her own." "All right." He stretched, yawned loudly. "It'll be dawn soon, so let me make your bed. Get some sleep, and in the morning, jump in the car and go look for the baby. I'm sure Monica will come back to you." In the morning, barely awake, Samuel set off in search of the baby. He went to one maternity hospital after another in the city, but there was no baby. "This address is the last one," he said as he got out of the car. "If it's not here, I have no idea where else to look." He went up to the head doctor's office, opened the door, and stood in astonishment. "Monica, what are you doing here?" "Apparently, the same thing you are," Monica answered calmly, turning at the sound of her husband's voice, wondering about the fate of the child and the mother. "And I beg your pardon, who are you?" The doctor squinted myopically at the entrant. He was sitting at the table in a snow-white coat, playing with a pen, which he held between his fingers. His round, good-natured face expressed impatience. "Have a seat. I am the biological father of the child." Samuel took the chair next to his wife. "That's very good, but we've already delivered the baby to the orphanage." He put his pen aside, stretched his fingers, and looked at the people sitting in front of him with interest. "He is perfectly healthy. All his immunizations were good, and his mother's funeral was held at the state expense. You know that her father is disabled and in the hospital, right?" Samuel nodded in agreement. "We didn't tell him that his daughter had died." The doctor was silent for a moment. "We were afraid the news would kill the old man. So you're ready to adopt the boy?" "Yes." Without a word, the couple answered together. "Lucky boy." The man looked from one to the other. "Good luck to you." He stood up, held out his hand to Samuel. "Here's the address of the orphanage." He held out a piece of paper written in illegible handwriting. I hope you won't regret taking in an orphan." Samuel and Monica said goodbye to the doctor. Each got into his own car and drove to the address. "Follow me." The unfriendly nurse made them put on shoe covers, gowns, and only then led them to the room where the children were sleeping. "Well, Daddy, do you recognize your son?" she asked sternly, stopping in front of the window, behind which the cribs with babies were visible. "That's my son." Without hesitation, Samuel pointed to the rosy-cheeked infant, who, as if sensing a native person, suddenly turned on, studied, and then cried in a demanding, ringing voice. "Look!" The nurse stared at him in amazement, immediately changing her displeased expression to a friendly one. "That's right. It's the first time I've seen such a thing. Come on, Cancer." She opened the door and walked over to the crying baby, gently took it in her arms, and held it out to Monica. "Here you go, Mommy. Do you know how to handle infants? We'll learn." Worriedly, the woman looked at the baby. In the meantime, he calmed down, quieted down, sleeping peacefully. You see, he quieted down at once, it means. The woman smiled. Monica handed the boy to Samuel. "Son, boy, my darling. I've waited so many years for this moment." He was dizzy from the overwhelming feelings. "Have you seen enough?" The nurse spoke sternly. "Let him stay here for the time being, and you go and draw up the documents. Hurry up. Every day without parental affection is a lost day for him." Monica used all her connections. Given the tragic history of the boy's birth, he was transferred to the family without bureaucratic delays. Now all his free time, Samuel spent with the child, and Monica shunned the boy. He reminded her of her husband's infidelity. "Darling," a few days later, guiltily said the newly married father, when the couple put the child to bed, sat in the kitchen in the evening for dinner. "You probably have to go on maternity leave. The baby takes up a lot of time. With him must be constantly engaged. Isn't that too much to ask of me?" The woman squinted irritably at me. "I let you take the child from the orphanage so that he was not an orphan with a living father, but to lock myself in 4 walls for him, I do not intend. I have a job, this clinic, and my baby. I'm as invested in it as you are. I realize I can't ask you to take my son, but you're a woman. You're better than I am at handling him. And I'll work for 2 so that when you get out of maternity leave, you can continue practicing in peace." Monica stared unblinkingly into her coffee cup. "I'm very sorry to you." Samuel broke the silence. "I realize that there is no forgiveness for me, and it will be difficult for me to earn it, but the child is not guilty before you. He's just a baby. Don't you have a little love in your heart for him? I know you're a kind, caring person." Monica had tears in her eyes. "You can hate me, but try to accept the boy." "I can't hate," the woman said sadly. "I've been asking you for a long time. I'll try to love him." "You're right. The boy is really innocent." Family life as it seemed, Samuel fell into a familiar rut, busy at work until late in the evening. He did not notice what it cost his wife to feed, bathe, walk, bring up the child of that other woman. Her image haunted Monica everywhere. In the turn of Adam's head, as they named their son, in his smile, everywhere she could smell the features of her husband's young mistress. The woman was angry that even after his death, the other woman was invisibly present in their home, and her husband still belonged to her. Jealousy was eating away at her soul like rust. It was hiding deep inside, but the corrosion was about to turn it into an unhealing wound. "I realize I am not to blame for betraying my father," she thought, sitting by the crib where the boy slept serenely. "But I can't help it. You are the fruit of treason. I can't get over it. And I can't love you either." Surprisingly quiet, calm child we have growing up, almost no illnesses." Holding his son in his arms, Samuel rejoiced. "Why do you buy so much nonsense for him?" Monica asked irritably, unloading bags with clothes, toys, and goodies. The nursery had already turned into a warehouse. "My son must have the best." Squeezing the smiling child, replied the happy father, "I wanted to talk to you." Monica said glumly, "About what?" "I think he's old enough to be taken care of by a nanny." "I want to go to work." "Monica?" Kissing his wife, Samuel said conciliatingly, "Why do you want to go to work?" "I provide everything for you. The house is full. Stay at home, especially with such a child. He does not cause any trouble. He is now at such an age when mom should be around all the time. Who and what do I owe? What do you know about trouble? Monica's on a roll. I'm sick of all this porridge, diapers, snot, tears. I want to be near him all day long. You see nothing. You sit late at work, and I'm alone all the time with this child your mistress gave you." Monica. Samuel stared at his wife as if struck by thunder. "I didn't know you still couldn't forgive me. It's been 2 years. I thought you loved him." "Are you blind, Samuel?" "Thank me for raising your son, but don't ask me to love him too. It's beyond me. I'll never forget whose son he is or what brought him into this world." Irritated, the woman threw the cup into the sink and went into the bedroom. The boy, startled by the loud voices, cried. Samuel carried him to the nursery, put him in his crib, calmed him down as best he could. The boy was silent, looking at his father carefully as if sympathizing with him. How come I didn't notice before that Monica was having a hard time with the baby? Samuel reproached himself. Was she really indifferent to the boy? What a fool I was to think that a woman could forgive adultery to the end. What to do? There's only one way out. He decided, I will urgently look for a nanny. Applying to the agency 3 days later, Samuel brought in a nice older woman. The man chose her among the young competitors, thinking that he could trust her with his boy. Monica plunged back into her old life, stayed late at the clinic, and was happy again. It was as if a stone had fallen from my soul. She confessed to her colleague, "It is not easy to cope with a child alone." The woman did a great job as a nanny, and little Adam became very attached to the old woman, even calling her grandmother. Monica, however, remained indifferent to the baby. Her heart never once ached with tenderness when the child said affectionately, "Mommy, I love you." She never called him son, and he considered her a real mom, waited in his crib in the evenings when she came home from work and kissed him before going to bed, and did not realize that there was no room in her heart for him. "Samuel, you'll forgive me." One day, calling early in the morning, apologizing, Nanny announced, "I'm sick and won't be able to babysit Adam. I have a friend who would be happy to take over for me with the baby. He's such a good boy, it won't be hard for her to handle him." No, the man declined the offer. "I don't need a stranger in the house. We'll manage on our own." He hung up the phone, hesitated, and went to his wife. "Honey, the nanny's sick. It's nothing." Getting ready for work, Monica said nonchalantly, "You can call the agency and they'll send someone else. I wanted to ask you to stay with my son today, but I can't." The woman was indignant. "I'll be busy at work again." "I think so," objected the husband. "One day will not seriously damage our work. It's a day off tomorrow anyway. I'm begging you." He looked pleadingly at Monica. "Just one day. Tomorrow I promise to let you rest." "All right," she agreed, "but tomorrow is all mine." "Thank you." Samuel kissed his wife gratefully. Mommy, let's not go in the car. I want to walk. It's far away on foot." Monica tried to reason with him, but he stubbornly persisted. "I'm not going in the car. I'll walk myself. Let me go." "Excuse me, please." She turned to the driver. He shrugged his shoulders and drove off sharply. No sooner had mother and son to make 100 steps, as there was a squeal of brakes. Then there was a sharp blow, followed by the scraping of metal. The screams of passers-by, the groans of the injured painfully struck the ears. Monica looked around, frantically clutching the boy's hand, and saw that the very car in which she and the child were supposed to go to the clinic was standing and smoking, smashed into a pole. Gawkers had already gathered around. Someone shouted desperately, "Call an ambulance! The man is still alive." Monica stood there, unable to move. She only now realized that she was on the verge of death. "Adam, my son!" With tears in her eyes, Monica said in horror, "If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be alive." She grabbed the child, pressed her breasts and sobbed, "My son, my dear little son. Kiss him," crying and laughing, she said. "You are with me. You're with Mommy. Mommy loves you. I will never let you be hurt." Without letting the child out of her arms, she dialed the number of the ambulance and hurried home. The doctor arrived, examined the boy, prescribed medicine, and calmed the worried mother. "Monica, how are you here without me?" Samuel's worried voice came from the hallway. "Hush!" Pressed her finger to the woman's lips, leaving the nursery and carefully closing the door behind her. Adam had just fallen asleep. The fever had gone down. "Samuel, I'm sorry," cried Monica, hugging her husband. "How stupid and wicked I was, consumed by my resentment. I almost lost the honor of being a mother, this most precious child in the world." "Monica?" Dazedly, the man stared at her. "What's the matter? I don't understand." "Adam saved me today." And she told him about the accident. "I don't want to leave him for another minute. I'm demanding that the nanny be fired as of tomorrow. I'm gonna take care of my son on my own. To hell with the job, as long as the child is alive and well." "Thank you, darling." Hugging and kissing his wife, said Samuel. The boy, surrounded by the care of loving parents, quickly recovered. "Monica?" One evening, a man spoke. "Our boy has a grandfather. It's unfair to deprive a child of a relative, and it's a pity for the old man because he lost his whole family. Let him know he has a grandson growing up. What do you think? Of course, we should look for him at the hospital." At the weekend, they went to visit Cindy's father, and it turned out he'd been moved to a state-run nursing home. Yes, Samuel pulled the car over to the 2-story, dingy building. This building has been in need of major repairs for a long time. Not a single flower in the yard, or even a decorative bush. What a dreary landscape. "Do you smell sauerkraut in here?" Monica asked, pinching her nose. "Looks like something else is burnt. How can you live in such conditions?" The man was indignant. "In the rooms and wards, all the plaster has peeled off. Is it impossible to hang normal light fixtures? The bulb is still burning under the ceiling, and this is the XFI century. I would have fired the nurses and orderlies a long time ago because it is impossible to breathe from the smell of sweat, urine, and medicines." In the corridors wandered like shadows inhabitants, slovenly dressed, little talkative. They stared at the visitors indifferently, staring at them with empty, lifeless eyes. "Hello," said Monica cautiously, addressing a man who was sitting in a wheelchair, scrutinizing something outside the window. The bed was covered with a blanket in an old, frayed comforter cover. At the sound of an unfamiliar voice, the man turned slowly and looked at the intruders with an unexpectedly lively look in his brown, Cindy-like eyes. My name is Monica." "Samuel." The man held out his hand in greeting. The old man shook it silently. "And this is your grandson Adam, Cindy's son." "Wrong," the old man said in a creaky voice. "I can't have a grandson. My daughter died in childbirth." "Yes, she died, but we found the boy. He's alive and well." Monica pushed her son forward. "Look closely, he looks just like Cindy." The man put on his glasses with the broken lenses and began to look at the child. The wrinkles on the old man's face began to smooth out, and finally he smiled with difficulty and said, "Our breed. Look at those eyes. What is your name?" He turned to the baby. "Adam," the boy answered shyly, "and I'm Grandpa James." The old man gently took his grandson's hand. "So we've met. You don't come here anymore." Suddenly the old man looked up at the guests. "It's not right for a child to see me like this. Thank you for letting me see my grandson. I won't want to die now." The couple looked at each other meaningfully. "James," Monica spoke up, "we will not leave you here. We will transfer you to another hospital where you will be well cared for, and we will visit you." "Thank you if that's the case," the man said. His shoulders shook in silent sobs. Tears came to Monica's eyes. "I thought I was going to die here alone. We promise we won't leave you," Samuel assured him. "You'll see your grandson grow up. I'm looking at him." The old man smiled. "And I see Cindy. She was the same silent, very kind, helpful, worked hard. So God took her away, and she ruined her health." The couple returned home dejected. They sincerely felt sorry for the man, who, by the will of fate, remained in need of no one. They had already decided for themselves that they would not abandon him. They would create all conditions so that he did not need anything and quietly lived out his life. After putting their son to bed, they sat next to each other and talked for a long time. "I am very happy," Monica said. "Our house has really become a full bowl now. We have a favorite son, our own and the best. Next to me," she confessed, looking at her husband with a look of tenderness. "A man I adore. Our clinic is thriving." "And me," kissing her, said Samuel, "the best wife in the world. And I don't need anything more in my life."